Music is one of humanity's oldest languages. It can heal, inspire, and unite people across generations. But sometimes, music does something else.
Right now, a search for a killer in South Florida after an up-and-coming rapper is shot dead.
Certain songs seem to carry a presence.
Teen girl Celeste wasn't killed by anyone? Then how does she end up dead and dismembered and D4VD Tesla?
Stories of strange coincidences, mysterious deaths, and unexplainable energy surround them. Songs that once heard cannot be unheard. Tonight, we'll uncover the dark side of music's most unsettling legends, from a melody banned for driving listeners to suicide, to the eerie coincidences, to a pop classic that turned deadly in karaoke bars. This is the most haunted songs in music history. It begins in the 1930s, in a small apartment in Budapest. A struggling Hungarian composer named Rezső Seres sits at his piano. Outside, the world is collapsing. Depression, poverty, despair. He writes a song he calls Szomorú Vasárnap, or Gloomy Sunday. It's haunting, slow, mournful, filled with hopelessness. The lyrics speak of heartbreak so deep that death feels like the only piece left. But something strange happens after it's released. Newspapers begin reporting a chilling pattern, listeners taking their own lives, with the sheet music of Gloomy Sunday found nearby. The song is blamed for dozens of deaths across Europe. Authorities call it the Hungarian suicide song. Even the BBC bans it for decades, labeling it too disturbing for broadcast. You might be wondering why this song feels so disturbing, but the truth is, it's not the original that gave it that reputation. It was the second version, the English version, by Billie Holiday. Let me break it down. Gloomy Sunday was originally written about despair brought on by war, ending with a quiet prayer for humanity's sins. It was released right around the time of World War II, and its storyline follows a protagonist so devastated by his lover's death that he contemplates ending his own life. And when the world is at war, it's always the innocent who suffer the most, not just physically, but mentally. Soon after, Seres himself takes his own life. During that time, Hungary saw suicide rates at an all-time high, and many of those tragedies became linked to what people started calling the Hungarian suicide song. In 1971, Led Zeppelin released what would become one of the most iconic songs in rock history, Stairway to Heaven. A strange rumor began spreading through church groups in America. If you play Stairway to Heaven backward, you can hear something. When the record spins in reverse, listeners claim they can make out the words, "Here's to my sweet Satan." The idea of backmasking, hiding secret satanic messages in rock music, explodes into a full-blown panic. Pastors hold sermons warning that Led Zeppelin are devil worshippers. Parents smash records. Politicians demand investigations. And it doesn't help that guitarist Jimmy Page was openly obsessed with the occult. He even bought Aleister Crowley's mansion, the home of one of history's most infamous occultists. The band denied everything. They said the whispers were nothing more than coincidence. But to many, that only made it more suspicious. Because when a song as massive as Stairway to Heaven carries whispers of darkness, it doesn't matter what's true. the legend becomes the reality. And to this day, you can still find people online who swear that something speaks through that record, something that wasn't meant to be heard. But Stairway to Heaven was released back in 1970. This next one happened much more recently, in 2025, and it pushed dark music into an even deeper, heavier place. A moment so huge it'll probably go down in history as one of the darkest chapters in the music industry. Romantic Homicide by David.
David has not officially been implicated in any crime.
Even just by hearing the song normally is already unsettling. It originally dropped in 2022, and by 2024, David's career exploded, reaching over 1 billion streams on Romantic Homicide. Everyone loved him. Not only did people agree he was an incredible songwriter, but David himself was a genuinely likable person. But right at the peak of his success, that's when everything started to crumble. In the story, his ex-girlfriend's body is found dismembered in the trunk of his Tesla. And the worst part about this is she was a minor. Authorities announced that the case is still under investigation, and there's even a possibility he isn't responsible for the horrific crime. Still, fans can't ignore how many of his music videos and lyrics revolve around blaming the deuteragonist for everything. In every video, he's blaming her. He's mad at her. He feels she deserved it, like she messed it up for them and ruined him. In one interview, he claims he wrote the song in a flow state while locked in his closet. He begins with a quiet, trembling, "I'm scared," and the rest of the track feels like a chilling confession.
I love talking about Romantic Homicide in particular because it's the only song that I've ever made where everything was done in one take.
Wow.
Like the entire thing, so I'll show you right. Look, like the entire lead vocal, there's no cuts. And then as soon as I heard the first 15 seconds, I knew what I had to say. And the first word I said was "I'm scared," and everything else followed after. It was the most flow state-like thing of all time.
Listening to it feels like being transported to the day of the incident. And to this day, David walks free, never officially found guilty or innocent. In 2018, rapper XXXTentacion released Sad. It discusses X's experiences with depression, thoughts of suicide, and romantic turmoil, as well as his personal regrets about his past. Not only did the song unsettle fans, but its music video immediately stirred even more unease. In it, he attends his own funeral, watching over a lifeless version of himself laid in a casket. And turns out, he was right. He did predict his end. Just weeks later, he was shot dead.
20-year-old XXXTentacion killed in an apparent robbery. Police say the artist, whose real name is Jose Onfroy, was leaving a Broward County motorcycle shop yesterday when he was shot by two men who ran up to his car. He was rushed to a hospital but did not make it. Onfroy's death comes just weeks after he earned his first #1 album, which debuted March 31st.
The eerie timing sent fans into a spiral. Many believed he had predicted his own death, pointing to his cryptic social media posts, lyrics about dying young, and a recurring theme in his work, seeing his end long before it arrived. The same unsettling pattern appeared again with Juice WRLD, another artist who openly wrestled with mortality in his music. He frequently rapped about not making it past 21, and one day he might die of overdosing and substance abuse. Tragically, he died of an overdose at 21. To many fans, it felt less like coincidence and more like prophecy, a promise. So when Billie Eilish rose to fame with songs drenched in vulnerability and dark emotional depth, a new wave of concern began to surface. Tracks like Listen Before I Go, a haunting piece that reads almost like a goodbye letter, made fans nervous. Online discussions speculated whether this could be another canon event in music, another chilling moment where an artist's art feels like a warning of something looming. Of course, Billie has repeatedly emphasized that her darker songs are storytelling, not self-fulfilling prophecies. But for fans who watch these tragedies unfold, the pattern is hard to shake. The fear isn't about the music itself. It's about how often artists seem to speak their pain into existence before the world realizes how real it is. Now we travel to the Philippines, and to a song that's far less sinister on the surface. Frank Sinatra's My Way, a classic, a karaoke staple, a symbol of pride and independence. But in the Philippines, My Way became something else entirely, a song of death. Starting in the early 2000s, reports surfaced of people being murdered in karaoke bars while singing My Way. The reasons were petty: someone singing off-key, hogging the mic, or just being too loud. But the pattern was undeniable, so frequent that they became known as the My Way killings. Bars began banning the song. Locals refused to perform it, believing the tune itself brought bad luck or provoked something dark in people. Sociologists blamed pride, machismo, and alcohol, but others said there was something deeper, that My Way tapped into a cursed arrogance, an invitation for violence. To this day, many karaoke bars in Manila still refuse to have it on their playlists. No one wants to take the risk, because for reasons no one can quite explain, people keep dying when they sing My Way.
There's someone being brutally murdered in the song, and your kid's listening to it?
Yeah, man. I don't know what to say. This is like no longer music. This is just insane.
Every era of music has its legends. Songs where something extra seems to have been recorded, something that wasn't supposed to be there. One of the most famous is Love Rollercoaster by the Ohio Players. In the middle of the track, a woman's scream pierces through the group, raw, terrified. Listeners swore it was real, a murder captured on tape. The band denied it, saying it was just sound effects, but the rumor never died. Then there's Tiptoe Through the Tulips by Tiny Tim, a song so bizarre, so unnervingly cheerful, it became a horror movie icon decades later, used in Insidious to terrify a new generation. People began to associate it with bad luck. Some claim strange things happen when they play it alone at night. And of course, the Beatles, Revolution 9. When played backward, fans heard Turn Me On, Dead Man. It fueled the legendary Paul is Dead conspiracy, the belief that Paul McCartney had secretly died, and the Beatles were hiding clues in their songs. Whether by accident or design, these recordings became modern-day ghost stories, proof that sometimes the tape captures more than just sound. Subscribe.